Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is Zayin Tishrei, 7th day of the month of Tishrei, the new year, 5786. And it's a beautiful Monday morning. We're a couple of days away from the holy, awesome day of Yom Kippur and Kol Nidre. And we're in the Tanya on page 78 in Chayenu, in our Chayenu booklets. In today's lesson, the souls of the angels of the world of Atzilus and the souls of man, as they originate in the world of Atzilus, are one with godliness, in the sense of not being independent, but still do not have creative power. This feature is exclusive to Ein Sof. Only Ein Sof can create Yesh Me'ayin, something from nothing, and anything which is totally united with God. Just the capacity to create something from nothing, meaning physicality, which was unprecedented, can only come from something which itself is absolutely original, and everything else is from something else. Okay, that part I got. By contrast, the souls of the angels that emerge from the Zivug Nishikin. The literal meaning is union of kissing, but it's a deeper meaning, a more ethereal manner of union of the spheres, which I guess it's a more external level. Spiritual entities emanate, such as the souls of angels. That's where they come from. And also the souls of man that emerge by the union of Zah and Nukva of Atzilus. That's a more deeper union and kiss than the Shikin, right? The union of Zer Anpin and Malchus of Atzilus. This form of union is termed Zivug Gufani, the physical union, quote unquote, relative to Zivug Nishikin. From this form of union, there derives the birth of souls. We can see what's the difference between Nishikin and Zivug Gufani. The Shikin is nice, but when there's a Zivug Gufani, then something comes out of that Zivug, right? The birth of the souls, in the state in which they exist in Atzilus. However, these souls, before the descent to Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, Einai B'chlal Yesh, V'davar Nifra V'fnei Atzman, are not counted as created substantiality, Yesh, and as instances of a distinct and independent entity, but rather Elohein Me'ein B'chinas Elikos Matthias Atzum, they resemble the category of godliness in intense contraction to the point of being in the level of Neshama. Get that?
No. I don't know the point. That's not problem.
Elohein me'ein b'chinas elikos b'tzimtzum atzum. They resemble the category of godliness in intense contraction to the point of being in the level of neshama. They're like the kelim, the vessels of the 10 spheres of Atzilus, which though they are divinity, are by nature finite. Even the malachim are by nature finite. On account of the contraction of the infinite Ein Sof, the kav that is vested in the nefesh ruach neshama. No matter how great they are, they're still a creation, and the godly light has to be contracted in order to bring them about. So the restricted diffusion of the kav, a kav is like a line, okay? It's like an antenna, if you will, that descends into the kalim or a ray, lacks the infinite degree of Ein Sof illumination that constitutes the essence of the kav. Is this contraction that makes it possible for the kalim of the series to exist in a mode of limitation, even through their union and the oidos and the nullification of the oidos lend them the characteristics of divinity as explained and mentioned above. And in a similar state are the souls of Atzilus that are still found within Atzilus. However, with regard to the contraction of the kav that's vested within them, the Alter Rebbe goes on to state that this is not merely a tzimtzum, a contraction involving a diminishment of a godly elimination. Rather, okay, so the kav that's vested within is not just a contraction. Well, what is it really? Just like the original tzimtzum that occurred in the infinite light of Hashem, a tzimtzum of such tzimtzum contraction, such high intensity that it was able to bring about a void of space for the existence of the world and so on. There had to be this massive contraction in order to create the world. So the original tzimtzum, unlike all subsequent tzimtzumim, involved much more than the mere diminishment of the intensity of divine illumination. It involved then the removal of the light. the tzimtzum of the kav, which enables it to be vested in the nefesh ruach neshama of the spheres, is similar to this original tzimtzum. If you're building a house, it's not a good example, but it's going to work for now. You're building a house, you have to dig down deep this huge foundation. If afterwards you got to put in a porch, you make a couple of holes, this and that and the other, so you got to take things away. But in order to put a strong foundation down, you got to dig the holes to, again, maybe it's not a good example because maybe you could build a house without any foundation. You could just put it flat. You know what I'm talking about? When you make this massive crater, but you couldn't imagine that beforehand or after. Or, you know, so just using this godly light, it's just so powerful. You know, imagine you go outside on the hottest sunniest day in the hottest place, and you just like, I can't see a thing, and it's just so overwhelming. It's not even a good example because we can't imagine what it's like. The Yidden at Mount and Har Sinai, they experienced it, and it was too overwhelming. They couldn't handle it. So there had to be this mass, and that's even that's on a low level because that's after the world was created. So we can't imagine what it could have been like, but it was just godly light was just all consuming. That's all. And there had to be this complete shakeup, this complete contraction of the godly light in order to make space for the world. But then there's other times where there has to be this contraction. So what's said above refers to the souls of Atzilus as they find themselves within Atzilus before they're vested within the bodies. While they're in that lofty world, they share the characteristics of divinity and are not detached entities. It's like there's a neshama. It's like there's a ray in the sun. It didn't come out yet. Yeah, but it's there. Potentially, it's there. It's going to come out. The soul of the soul that are in Atzilus, the souls that are in Atzilus, they're going to come out eventually. But right now, they're in there, and they're completely subsumed within their source.
They're always attached.
Like within the
They're always attached, but once they come out, they're less. They're more visible. They're more recognizable.
Within the sun, the surface of the sun. The surface of the sun is still part of the sun, but it's differently attached. Yeah, on the surface is different than
the core, than the essence. Yeah, okay. ואף גם לאחר שיורדו הנפש רוח הנשמה דאצילוס. לא אילו מזה לצדיקים הראשונים, אפשר שלא להשתנה מהוסן ליהי הסתיו ונפרד מליכוס. And interestingly, even after the nefesh ruach neshama of Atzilus descend into this world, to the first tzaddikim, it's possible that their essence did not change to become entities distinct from divinity. They still remained on the same level. They're still completely. That's why they're like Avraham Avinu. Whatever God tells him to do, like it's not like you can't compare him to any other normal human being. Even the holiest of our righteous of our generation would not hold a candle to Avraham Avinu. The neshama is still on the level of Atzilus. L'chein hayu mistalkois kisherotzu lachatoi b'terem yachtu. That's why they withdrew from their bodies and they died when they sought to sin before they sinned. Maybe Aaron's two sons, Nadav and Avihu, Eliyahu and Navi.
So how could we be examples of the question? The question.
Sorry, 1 second. Nadav and Avihu. It's not that they, they went into the Beis Hamikdash. They were inappropriate. Their souls were connected to God. They were just on such a spiritual level. They shed the physicality.
I think Hannah could be a better example because we're telling them it's not focused on what exactly they did. There are things that say that
Fair. It's just a more popular story. Tell us the story.
So there are things that say that what they really did, they were already kind of support because by the burning bush, they went to the burning bush and the word they scared of they gazed at the burning bush when they should have done that stuff. But because it was the symbol of Mount Torah of Shavuot, so they wanted to the symbol, so they didn't talk to them, but really they were already tithing, so they were already tithing. So I wouldn't be what they're going to do as an example. Chanukah will be the classic example. Why did Hashem take Chanukah? Chanukah was because Hashem foresaw that if Chanukah would have lived through the Durham Mabel, he would have succumbed. He would have succumbed to the temptation. We took him away while he was still a child.
Good one. Okay, I didn't know that. V'korev leima shegam halofim v'revavos olmin v'yosvin digul galta ta'arech anpin uzer anpin. It's reasonable to assume also the thousands and myriads of worlds that are in the Gulgalta of Arechanpin and Zeranpin is stated in the Kabbalah, Einam Omin Mamish, Ke'ein HaHecholois, Atzilus, V'chinas Yesh. They're not really worlds, like the Hecholois, the chambers of Atzilus, and a form of Yesh, but they're more like Elekein Nishmais, Hamalachim, Shiyotzum Ziv Neshikin. They're more like the souls of the angels that emerge from the Zivug and Neshikin, which we mentioned before, are not in the category of Yesh. They're more halachas of the bodies of the angels. Dikna. They are called worlds relative to the rank of Gulgalta and Dikna. They're so connected to divinity. They're mamish like spiritual in nature, yet they cannot create something from nothing. They're still no matter how spiritual and how connected and how lofty or just at one with God they still cannot create something from nothing. That's only the Ein Sof, that's only God's ability to do, nobody else, nothing else. The ability to create something from nothing is exclusive to the eternal light of Hashem. Since the Kelim, the spheres of Atzilus are utterly nullified with the infinite Ein Sof light, they are able to serve as conduits for the creation of Yesh from Ayin. Angels and the souls of Atzilus are not actual divinity and are thus unable to serve in this way. Because they already emerged and become separated from the Kelim of the 10 spheres of Atzilus, within which the Kav of the infinite Ein Sof is vested. The light is like its source, the luminary, meaning the very core and essence of the blessed emanator. Hashem, shemetziusai hu me'atzmusai ve'enoi olul me'eze ilo shekadma lo chas v'shalom. The Eibishter, Ein Sof, whose being is of his essence, his is an essential form of being. He's not chas v'shalom brought into being by some other cause preceding himself. That descendant state of non-existence cannot possibly apply to God's existence, which is an essential form of existence. Anything else that's in existence, no magician, no astronomer, you trying to figure out that word?
No, I'm trying to figure out how it says existence 3 times in one sentence. An state of non-existence could not possibly find God's existence, which is the essential form of existence.
So nothing else, no other power, nothing else can create something from nothing. They have to take some substance. It's therefore in his power alone to create something yesh, which is something out of nothingness ayin. God is able to create substance not only from the degree of ayin that merely lacks existence, but from absolute nothingness, and from an ayin that's the very antithesis of yesh, of substantial existence. Without this yesh having any other cause and reason preceding it. So the godly life force of the ayin that created the yesh is the exact opposite of the yesh. Okay. So the Rebbe now goes on to anticipate the following question. Since only the Ein Sof can create yesh from ayin, what need is there for the Kelim of the spheres? Do whatever he wants. In order that this yesh, the creation created by the infinite power of the Ein Sof, should have a limit and measure, the infinite Ein Sof light was vested in the Kelim of the 10 spheres of Atzilus. For the Kelim, the vessels are limited inasmuch as they divide into the distinct categories of Chachma, Chesed, and the like. It becomes united with them so much so that he and his causations are one. So that Hashem can create with and through them creatures that have limitations and finitude. This is especially the case through their investment, meaning the investment of the Kelim of Atzilus in Bria, Yitzira, and Asiya, for this adds immeasurably to the finitude and corporeality of the resultant created beings. Okay, so let's bring this all together. And what does this mean? Kabbalah 101. Atzmus literally is the essence. That refers to the essence of Hashem. In essence, this is an undefinable and incomprehensible state of the divine being, despite all the terminology that we give him in order to speak of him. We might say it's God, it's an infinite light and everything else. It's just the essence. We have no relationship to that. We can't. He has a relationship to us, but we can't, we can't fathom that. This is the state of Hashem as he is at his core, with nothing being before him. For any reason. He just is. Kabbalistically, it's the most pristine state of divinity, which just is, without any pre-cause, which is embedded into the physical creation and gives it the DNA to appear as if it runs on its own. Hashem decided that there's going to be a creation, and we can't understand the reason, but so much so that we feel as if we're independent entities. That's the way God created it. It's not possible to question it because we cannot tap into that level of divinity. Okay, boys and girls and ladies and men. Have a wonderful day. Keep doing tshuva. Keep giving tzedakah. We have a couple of days left, and certainly Hashem will grant us a wonderful year and inscribe us in the book of good and the book of life. An incredible year ahead. Take care.